What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast episode 375. It is another fine Sunday of gaming with a lot of big games to talk about this week. I am your host, Mr. Leon Kennedy, joined by my favorite two people to talk video games with, including the lawman, a man of the law who Leon Kennedy approves of course. How we doing, lawman?
He's a little bit more excessive in his enforcement apparatus than some.
It's just because he's got higher credentials, dude. The higher up you go, the more you can.
Yeah, he has a lot of responsibility. You don't
works for the president, dude.
Come on. He does not. He did that one thing for the president that one time.
I mean, you really think what he's doing right now, he's not doing it for the president, dude? You don't know what? You don't know Leon's heart.
I can't speak to any plot points in Resident Evil Requiem, but I did note that when Ains announced himself as Leon Kennedy, I did viscerally miss the middle initial call out.
That's right.
Why did you miss it?
Because he's Leon S. Kennedy.
Oh, you just associated that way. Okay. Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, the president definitely turned into a zombie at the beginning of Resident Evil 6. So I don't think he's working for the president anymore. I just remembered that scene where you're in the White House and you're running around and they're all zombies. I forgot about that. That game is horrifying. I can't believe they made Resident Evil 6.
6 gets a bad rap. I think 5 is still worst.
Wow. Well, we'll get into that a little bit, but of course the Thai guy is here as well. How we doing, my friend?
What's up, player? How you doing, girl?
That's right.
Tell you
Today
what.
on Travis's Pillow Talk.
Yeah. Even this, I don't know. I've said before we started the show, I don't know how guys with hair like this, or women for that matter, deal with it. This is nightmare fuel.
Yeah. You look like an anime character.
I mean, Leon pretty much is an anime character, so that checks out.
Actually, yeah,
funny.
He is.
There was an article going around a little while back that said Leon Kennedy was nominated or voted the prettiest male video game character by like a survey of women. So I asked my daughter this while she's playing Resident Evil Requiem with me, and she goes, "No, I mean he's got one of those Leo Titanic haircuts, but he's no Clive. Like my oldest daughter just loves Clive Rossfield. So
from Final Fantasy
16.
Okay.
Clive says,
all right, that's our guy, huh?
Not Leon, Clive. So that's the official Hogue House vote.
Interesting.
Have you asked Mrs. Hogue about this?
Mrs. Hogue's response was, "Oh yeah, I can see Clive," and didn't answer the Leon Kennedy question.
See, now we're getting the dating sim content that all of our users subscribe.
Yeah, this is what everyone tunes in for right here.
This is what we've been waiting for, Hogue.
My youngest daughter, on the other hand, who hadn't played Final Fantasy 16 with me, and who my oldest was showing pictures of various Final Fantasy characters to, only reacted to Sephiroth and said, he looks awesome. So, knowing nothing else about any of those games.
She's taking the dark path.
I guess so. Yeah. Just a silver-haired lover of people. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, what's going on, everyone? Good to see everyone in the chat. We big show today. Obviously, we have Resident Evil Requiem, and I have finished it. I'm doing the review for SG, which formally will be up tomorrow, but I'm going to talk about it today, of course. I got a late start. That's why my review didn't go live at the end of the week, but we'll talk about it today. We've got the Marathon Server Slam up and preparing us for launch next week, which we've got to talk about. We got a bunch of news out of PlayStation this week, reporting by Jason Schreier, which we're going to touch on around PC, around Blue Point, Bloodborne Remake. We got an interview with Xbox's new CEO we're going to touch on. A few people we know are playing the Horizon Hunters Gathering test, which we'll touch on. I don't think the three of us are playing it, but I can briefly mention it. We've got Steam Next Fest going on. There's a lot of gaming happening right now. So we're going to get to all of that, of course. Before we do that, we got to check in with a few things from the community, as we always do. Christy Fletcher coming in with an early member comment.
Christy Fletcher, 2416, has been a member for 39 months. Clocked by my...
I think that's the FYP. For you in social media, right? I don't know. I can't remember what the P is.
For you page, maybe?
Maybe.
Clocked by
Okay.
my FYP looking eyeballs. Lots of Leon Kennedy clips.
Mm,
Yeah. So I think she's
Oh, I
saying
see.
that she's
For you
getting a lot of
page.
Leon Kennedy imagery in
Leon
her social media.
content. And is that a chili pepper?
I hope so.
It's a
Because
spicy
Leon
chili
is
pepper.
hot. Because he's a hot boy.
That's what I'm told. This is why I was
He looks
asking my
good, yeah.
daughters. I was like, I mean, he looks fine. He looks like most kind of elfin anime characters to me.
He does. Elf, an anime character with muscles. That's pretty much Leon Kennedy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Although it's
Plus,
really
he's a cop.
interesting. It's funny in this one, of course, because he's 51, right?
He
So
is
he's
old
definitely
looking.
a lot more chiseled. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
getting
seasoned.
infected with many viruses changes you, really ages you.
Well,
No
my
kidding.
oldest said that she didn't see him as the hottest guy in gaming, but she did say she liked his attitude because he's constantly kicking indoors and things. So
Yeah, he's pretty
And
rude.
still-
He's
teenage daughters,
done-
it's an experience, man.
he's done more for locksmiths than I think anybody else in the industry. Poor guy. He's keeping the industry afloat.
It's great to see he has the signature roundhouse kick. He still makes a lot of funny quips in the game as well. It's good stuff. So, we've got our picks from Tide this week, which she warned me ahead of time. This is what the AI came up with, which is kind of funny given that it's based on Marathon this week.
I wanted to be
there's a
Billy
certain
Birkin.
level of there's a certain level of irony there. But
How many
here
eyeballs?
we go. These ones are horrifying.
AI is bad. I've come to the conclusion that AI is bad. At least
You
it
look
gave me
like you've
extra
just
eyes, though.
inhabited a rook shell, Travis. Like you burst through the center of it or something.
I looked like I got caught in my own 3D printer.
Well,
Yeah,
I have very little to say about this other than
you're scared.
the AI was not kind.
To any of
I
us.
think
Yeah.
it did a good job for. Ains, your nose isn't that big.
It looks distinguished.
I mean, my nose isn't that big normally.
Hogue, they got your hair right.
His glasses, Hogue looks a little odd here. It's almost like his suit is painted on his face. It's very weird.
It's actually
I
just
mean,
my
I
nude body paint.
I definitely got the short end of the stick here. I mean, I don't know what happened with me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm the captain of the UESC.
It looks like you're trying to cosplay as something in the game.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff.
And I'm not quite done with my cosplay yet. This is as far as I got with my cosplay. It's gonna look really cool when I'm finished.
When it's done, guys.
Yeah.
You got little cardboard boxes on your shoulders.
That's right. Yeah.
Excuse me. Oh man, Todd, thank you as always. That is we're gonna get the marathon here shortly, but yeah, that's something. I don't know about that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. I'll tell you what, why don't we start with marathon since we've kind of been talking about that. We got the server slam running through tomorrow, and then of course they basically take the servers down, probably push their final ready to launch patch, and then it launches on Friday. So I'll start, Hogue, I'm going to start with you since Travis and I have talked a lot about marathon already. Did you try the server slam yet?
I have been in the server slam. I have slammed servers with no discernible effect. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty effective test so far, insofar as nothing seems to be breaking that I can see.
No,
Friday was
I
a
haven't
little
had any
rocky.
hiccups. The what,
Okay.
Travis?
He said Friday.
Friday was a little
Friday.
rocky.
First getting in. Okay. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, Bungie historically, as far
always
back
had
as I can
problems.
remember, have been really solid in the networking space. So, yeah, I mean,
Well, they always
I
have
haven't seen it.
problems on launch day with all their Bungie releases. There's
They will.
always
Yeah. I mean,
lead
immediately,
times
but I
and
mean, they're good at
timelines.
cleaning it up.
Yeah, they fix it quick and then it's stable for forever after that.
Yeah.
Well,
So, Hogue, how much time have you spent in this thing?
I think it's probably 4 or 5 hours.
Oh,
I don't know
wow.
if there's
Okay.
I don't know if there's
More
a
than I
clock.
thought.
But
No, there's no cutoff.
But yeah, I have some nice things to say about Marathon. I have some not so nice things to say about Marathon. But overall,
Let's go.
just jumping into the server slam, getting the intro piece, getting the opening video, seeing exactly how hardcore sci-fi they were aimed, that does a lot for me, Rick Hogue. I think it makes it very difficult to bring in a bigger general audience. Like, it is the the hard sci-fi. We're going to talk about AI with pictures of moths and opening eyeballs and things like that throughout its entire design philosophy that I really like. Like, I think there is actually a marathon, my marathon from before this vibe in this game, which I wasn't expecting. So that's
Great.
awesome for me. And you get in there and you actually run around, and it's Bungie shooting. So it feels like Destiny. It feels like one of those colonies in Destiny, but with more robots running around. And it looks and plays great, as you would expect from a Bungie game. I don't know that Bungie has ever figured out how to onboard people so well to their games. So I feel like I'm still going in there and being like, what does that bar actually say? And kind of only figuring out what the icons on the side of the items mean. And if you've played an extraction shooter, you have to evaluate things pretty quickly and move on to the next thing. And I think it almost assumes like you have some understanding of the genre already. And the 25-minute timer versus the 20-minute timer, and exfills and infills, and it's doing different things with some of what I view as the standard extraction shooter stuff. And I say that as a person that doesn't have a lot of experience with it, but mostly has it with Arc Raiders. And their version of like freebies of getting these sponsored packs that give you stuff that you can then escape with is different enough from Arc Raiders that I had to think about what my incentives were. And they're also trying to make the spaces kind of more organic feeling, I think, in terms of like it's not as obvious where you go and search for things and pick up stuff from your thieving in these areas. So it's a bigger learning curve in my experience than Arc Raiders was. So I think if you're looking for that general audience, that immediate uptake, you've got the hard sci-fi barrier, which I love. And they gave me a bunch of codex entries that read just like the old Marathon, like computer entries. They've used textures from the old Marathon games in certain places that were a big nostalgia blast. But I think that's going to be harder for 2026 audience to just immediately grapple with. It's even more esoteric than something like Destiny, which is pretty esoteric. You're fighting giant shapes all the time. And so I have concerns about it being kind of accepted and the uptake. But it plays really well. It's nice to be in. I want to explore it more. I've evaluated some of the design space stuff and some of the story beats that have happened with the contracts already. And I think that there's a lot there to like for someone that enjoys Bungie's sci-fi storytelling and the old Marathon games. I just don't know whether it isn't a little bit too inscrutable for the general audience.
I was typing. Sorry.
No problem.
No, I think that's pretty spot on. As the more I play this, so one, and Travis, I'm sure you noticed this. This game is really well optimized compared to last year when I first played this game. It looks prettier. I mean, it didn't run bad last year, but it's definitely been polished more. And it's a really, really between the art direction and the color palette, and it's very striking. It always has been, but it's just very very fluid, and it feels fantastic to play, which is great. I would agree with you, and we said this previously. I think Travis and I have talked about this a lot, at least from our viewpoint, or I won't speak for you, Travis, but my viewpoint, this was always going to be a more competitive, hardcore PvP style extraction shooter than something like Arc Raiders. And I think that will speak to kind of what you're touching on, Hogue, which is I don't see the adoption of this game being as strong as something like Arc Raiders or something in the genre. Now, I don't want to count Bungie out. It's Bungie, of course. Destiny's audience is huge. This is just a server test. There could be people waiting to play it next week. There's a whole bunch of caveats here. But there is a learning curve here for sure. And I think the UI design, the menu design, and the way you look at items, as we said this last year, I think, it takes time to figure out what things are, what they look like. There's a lot of things that look similar. And so you kind of have to spend some time really getting into it. And if you combine that barrier of entry with the curve of competitiveness, which is no doubt in my mind going to take shape, I think that it's opportunity for kind of mass appeal, like a Battlefield 6 Arc Raiders type of appeal, is limited, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't see it hitting that hard.
I don't either.
Audience.
That all said, as you guys well know, this is where I live. So what I've played so far in this Server Slam compared to last year, I've enjoyed even more. And I find myself, to your point, Hogue, around the codex entries, the kind of lore nuggets you get, the data pads you upload, and just trying to figure out piece the puzzle together of my loadout, what weapons do what, mods, class mods, unlocking the faction bonuses to expand your vault, your heat signature, all these things of like the long-term build and character progression are what really interests me. And I like the competitive nature, of course. I go in, I'm a shoot on sight player in Marathon. I'm not here to make friends.
It's funny, how many invisible people I've let run across my field of view and be like, it's okay, buddy, I'm not going to shoot you. And then like just immediately like murder balled. And it's like, no, what are we doing?
No, I have proximity chat off right now, and I'm just if I see you, you're getting shot. I may not win, but you're getting shot. But anyway, I've that's
been
where I'm
trained
gonna
wrongly in Arc Raiders because I give you a pause and wait to see if you're going to do anything, and then I'm dead before I have any chance to do anything.
The TTK is too low for that in this game.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I think I don't want to go on too long here, so I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to play more today. I was finishing Resident Evil. I've got to finish the review, all this stuff. So my time was limited to get started this week. So Travis and I haven't played this one yet. I've played maybe 10 runs, something like that, in the Server Slam, and I've had a lot of fun. But there's definitely the curve, like I said, to get into this game. Like some of the people I was playing with or listening to play that I'm friends with are like, the stuff feels weak, your shield feels very low, everything. And I'm like, but that's by design because you're just starting, right? Like you're very weak at the start here. So I think that's going to be, to your point, Hogue, I agree with you. I think from a casual perspective, there's going to be some people that fall off of this.
Well, I'm going to stick with Marathon. I will tell you, I know I gave my like critical thoughts early on, but like the overall thought I have when I'm playing it is I want to learn this more. There's design here, I can tell. I'm enjoying the interactions with the joysticks and actually playing this thing and seeing these spaces. I love the codex entries, and I see all of the design space with all the contracts and the various upgrades and the factions. I love it. It's like, all right, take me there. This is great. I just always feel right now that I don't 100% know what's going on. And part of that is the early onboarding, like the very first 2 missions where you're just like, this is where things are and this is how you play this game. It drops you into a group, and I think I could have soloed it if I had seen how the buttons work better. But basically, you drop in and your group, at least mine did, solved it for me immediately. I didn't know what was happening, and then I was like out before I even knew what was going on. And that was the entire opening experience for me. So I had to back up and kind of do some solo runs, and you can't play this game solo. In all honesty, it doesn't work very well. At least for me, I'm bad enough that it doesn't work well for me. And so solo was the only way I was able to kind of get a feel for the spaces and where things actually were and how to evaluate items and that kind of thing. And I'm not very good at it yet. But it just is very uncomfortable. Bungie didn't like kind of smooth down the friction points that we're so used to in 2026. And I kind of like that. Like even the interface, in the back of my head, I'm thinking of it as all menus all the time. Like everything that Arc Raiders does to kind of try to make it a space and try to make it feel like a lived-in environment and all these things. Like Bungie's like, nope, we're going to give you boxes. We're going to make it feel like an AI, and you're going to talk to a chatbot in all these various ways, and you're going to like it because that's Marathon. And when I started it, I was like, this all feels wrong. This all feels like designed from a different world. But I like what they are going for vibe-wise, but everybody's not me. Like, I look at this and say, I want to figure out what they're doing here. I want to learn more. I want to learn this game. And I don't think that that's going to be the overall experience for everybody that pops in here.
Yeah, someone just asked, Travis, before you comment here, someone just asked, Contrary Rhombus said, do we think that the start of the Server Slam, like getting into the game, will be similar to next week with launch, or have they removed some stuff? And my guess would be that what you're seeing in terms of turning the game on and starting, it's going to be the same when the game launches.
Pretty much, yeah. This build is 6 months old, so I bet they're doing some server stuff, but they have shown no capacity to make day one go smoothly. And by the way, it seems to happen even when it is like not that many people playing, because the last Destiny expansion had the same problem with,
Well, and the second
a
question
much
is do
smaller
we think
player
they removed
population.
tutorial stuff, which was also something that I was thinking. But no, if you go and you look at their newsletter notes on this, it says that they have implemented full onboarding and the bringing you on to the game. So that might not be the case. Like there might be a little bit extra, but they've got the full intro video as far as I can tell. They've got like the early mission that is not real, like the faked mission to kind of show you how to play. It's just not very hand-holdy, right? Like our creators, I'd have to think about what that onboarding was. I think it was definitely much longer than marathons, but like what they actually showed you there, and like this is where you go and this is where you get stuff out of lockers and things, just isn't here. Like they want you to drop in and be like, what in the heck am I doing? And kind of figure it out as you go.
Yep. That does seem to be the go-to for extraction shooters. No onboarding. That's kind of their style. For whatever
reason. You combine it with, as Ains said, the ultra competitive nature of actually playing the thing, and then combine it further with like just really esoteric, hard science fiction, and you're like, okay, so you've narrowed down like 3 separate niches on top of each other. So Godspeed, Bungie. I wish you all the best. I like this product that came out of this process, but if I were like budgeting this, I would have said let's try this again. So that's my evil corporate mind there.
So interesting comment from Bruno, and I can see some people like this. So Bruno says onboarding sucks. I just kept playing because the gunplay, art, and sound are top notch. I love the game now though, and only stopped playing because of the launch day reset. Which I've got a few friends who are basically they got past.
I honestly think people were complaining about the player count. I think it's kind of unfair because one, I mean, I don't know how many players are going to play this on Steam specifically. But also like when I don't know your guys' relationship with these sorts of server slams, but I usually play like a little bit and then go, okay, I'm sold, and then stop playing because I know my progress isn't going to carry over.
Yeah.
And I do feel like a lot of people are just doing that. Like, okay, that was cool. We'll check it out when the game's actually out.
Yeah, when I get the full experience. Yeah.
Yeah. It's only the hardcore people like myself that are like, I want to get to level 30. Like, let's do it. You know,
I wanted to see what this thing felt like. And I now know. And it's like, yep, I can work with this, but I'm not sure about everybody else. But I do like that comment you just brought up, Ains, because that is my experience. It's like, no, I think this is bad at kind of a meta-contextual level in terms of bringing me on board, but I love the design. It is striking, as you said. I love the gunplay. I want to be engaged in this game, so I'm going to fight through that. And maybe there are more of me and Bruno than I thought. Don't know.
Yeah, I would say that I would forget what I was going to say. So I can't remember what the hell I was just going to say. But Travis, obviously,
huge.
obviously closer to this game than most. We already said we will be reviewing it together, which is awesome. Excited about that. But as you've dove back into the server slam this weekend with some of the guys we know and put some time in, what are you feeling?
Yes. So from a time perspective, I've played this game or the server slam. I've played over 20 hours. I'm at character level 27, approaching 30. And my personal favorite accomplishment, I'm level, I think, 12 in Arachne, which is the faction that's all about PvP. And all their missions are just like kill other players. And I'm like, let's go. Like, I'm just super powerless. It's my highest level faction is Arachne. I'm just taking so many quests and just running around killing because they're great. You can do them on any map, right? You're not looting something specific, just like kill runners, show no mercy, do what must be done, Lord Vader. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude, let's go. So
I will one day get my kill one runner codex entry.
Nice. Have you still haven't killed anybody?
I got to tell you, I can't tell the difference between a runner and a computer controlled guy yet. So
I mean, that's a testament to the AI, which I think is one of the strongest things about this game. I think the AI is so good.
They've even improved. Yeah.
I think the AI in this game is like unbelievably good, which Bungie is usually pretty good at it, but this compared to Destiny, like this is so much better than Destiny's AI. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, let me talk about what my thoughts are of the game. So first of all, you can read my review so far on IGN. I wrote 1,000 words after playing for like 6 or 7 hours on Friday, and I just did it go live Thursday night? I can't remember. I just pounded it out on Friday.
Can't remember.
I think it went live on Thursday during the day. Yeah, it did, because I played a couple hours on Thursday, and then Friday I was mostly writing. But yeah, I played. I wrote that out so you can see what I thought. I also wrote a paragraph I'm quite proud of, which is I tried to describe specifically why I think Bungie guns feel so good, which is something I've written in reviews before, but I have always had a really hard time actually like identifying the thing that makes Bungie guns feel so good. So I tried to do that. I'm particularly proud of that.
Can you give us a clue what you think?
Yeah, I mean I think the thing I ended up like really attaching to is like the musicality of weapons and how they it's just like little details like that. It's the kind of like noises that they make and the feedback loop of when you hit something, they give you like a very satisfying kind of like feedback. And then also just like it making you feel like you're slightly better than you actually are, with like kind of the bullet magnetism and stuff like that. Just anyway, I'm going to butcher something that I spent like an hour trying to write just one paragraph about it, but please read it. I think it's I think it hits the mark, or at least how I feel about it. My thoughts so far are that I'm really liking this game. I kind of thought that I would after playing it at Bungie HQ a couple times, and I just had a feeling that this was going to be like a Travis coded game, and it sort of feels like it is. I also love extraction shooters. I've done, I think, all of our extraction shooter reviews at IGN, so this is definitely very much my beat. And yeah, things that I really like about it. Obviously the combat, the gunplay is fantastic. They made some really interesting changes to things like time to kill, and the way that the guns feel. They really got that like final 10% that I think they needed to get in terms of polish. Same thing with the AI. Like the AI was already good, and now it's like maybe some of the best AI I've seen in a game. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I agree with some of the criticisms that people have. The UI in particular is brutal. Specifically, like you can pick up items and not know what they do until you scroll over them because they all look identical. It's like, oh, what mod is this? No idea. And there's actually no way to tell. You have to scroll over it to figure out what it does. I think that's insane. There's some stuff like that where it's just like, what were they thinking? And as somebody who played like the alphas, 2 years ago or whatever, it's like, it's stuff that I assumed was placeholder. Because you see that in early builds. It's like, oh, okay, this is like temporary art. They're going to replace this with something. They did not. Like a lot of the icons are the same icons that they had in those builds. And I'm like, are they going to change that? That's crazy. There's no label, which I think is insane. I do see your guys' point about this maybe being a niche. And I think the thing that Bungie is counting on is that it's different. Like I think the lesson that's been learned is that generic looking games kind of fall apart, and Marathon is not generic. It makes you look at weird caterpillars getting eaten by moths during the loading screens. It has a strange, unsettling soundtrack. Like everything about it is, the art style is very kind of otherworldly, and I think that they're gonna rely on that a lot to draw people's like interest in, like, oh, what is this game? It looks different. It's unmistakable. You see a screenshot of Marathon and you're like, that's Marathon. And then I think that 3 weeks from now, when the end game activity in the 4th map comes out, there's probably going to be a bigger news cycle splash about Marathon than when the game comes out. That's my theory, because there's a whole lot of stuff that I know about what's in the end game based on talking to people who have played it. And it is, it's a typical Bungie thing where they're willing to kind of take the hit so that they can have surprises in their game that people aren't expecting. And I think when people figure that out, it's going to be a game changer. And this is without, I haven't really seen anything on social media about people discovering a lot of the secrets that I know are in Marathon, and I believe are in this build, like the boss fights that you can unlock and stuff like that. And so I've kind of seen the stuff in game and I know what it does, but I haven't really seen people discovering that. I think once that happens, that's going to be a huge, people are going to be like, what? Like one of the things I saw, I'm not sure if you guys saw this, I saw people discover that the AI enemies try to pretend to be real players using proximity chat. and goad you into, they'll like say like, hey, I need a res, or hey, can you help me? And it sounds like a human. It's actually just the AI trying to lure you in and kill you. And like when people discovered that, they were like, what? And like there's a bunch of stuff like that in Marathon that I think people are going to be like, this game's kind of surprising in some fun, interesting ways. I am really surprised, Hogue. If you would have asked me a year ago, what is the thing I most am worried about with Marathon? I would have said the narrative and the story and it feeling like it was just like tacked on. And I don't feel that way at all right now. Like
I don't either.
To me, I'm surprised how much they're referencing and putting in like the lore and the characters and the cutscenes. And like every time I do a mission, I come back and I talk to somebody and I get like just a little drip of lore, and it feels a lot more consistent than like a Destiny campaign or Destiny season or whatever.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like I was playing it going like, this is better than Destiny's storytelling.
Yeah,
like,
it feels
wild.
better and more consistent. Like in Destiny, you have to wait like really long beats before you get like a new piece of information or story that make you like replay strikes and all that stuff. And this one felt like I'm learning just a little bit, and everything I learn, I'm like, wow, this world's crazy. First of all, there's a company that just won at business, Traxxas. They just won all business in the world.
You know what my first contract was once I got access? I'm a Traxxas guy. Let's go. Let's go.
Of course you are. Yeah, of course you are. Yeah.
But
you got to get that lion, dude. You got to get that death lion that they've got hooked up.
But that's what's so cool about this is like Marathon, for folks that weren't there in whatever decade these games came out. I'm going to say like mid 80s to mid 90s. Is about like artificial intelligence increasingly separating its thought process from humanity and the human experience. And like, what a perfect time to have that be your narrative, like tent pole. And so you can see them dealing with that. And the videos to moths and things that are so off-putting in hard sci-fi are clearly metaphors for like awakening artificial intelligence and things like that within an extraction shooter framework. So it's like Bungie is still interested in telling the Marathon story, which is great. They're doing it with this format, and perhaps it would be better for me if it were a more traditional, Halo kind of campaign experience. But I love it. I'm just with my skill level,
really surprised,
and affinity for these types of games. I'm a little worried I won't get to see much of it.
Yeah, especially since the fourth map is on the USC Marathon, and that's going to be like, I mean, I assume that's where all the big story and reveals and stuff we find out about the world is going to be there. And I don't know that Hogue can make it to that point. I mean, we'll see.
We will carry him.
We'll see how hard we can carry.
I mentioned my 4 or 5 hours of play. I believe I'm level 3.
Nice.
Oh,
I mean, that's honestly not bad because, well, actually, no, the first 10 levels go really quick. So in the 20s, it's pretty, you got to play a lot. Like I've played a lot of this game and I'm still at like level 26 or 27, I think.
As it turns out, if you mostly die and don't kill any other runners, the experience just doesn't kind of flow in so fast.
Right. But you can beat quests. That's the main way you get XP, is completing quests. And a lot of the quests, you don't have to do an exfil. You just have to do all the objectives.
That is cool. I
like that. I couldn't figure out how the game works.
Having exfil.
Yeah. I couldn't figure out how the game works. My main first task was to use sponsored crates and try to steal their stuff. That was what I started out with as a policy.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Have you found a fake crate yet?
I have not.
You can drop player bags that look like a character died there, and then when you interact with it, it just explodes and kills you. It's my favorite.
I remember
trick to do. I'll find like a dead player and I'll take all their stuff, because if you take all their stuff, their bag disappears, and then I'll put a fake bag on their corpse so it looks really convincing. And then people go and interact with it and explode, and I'm standing somewhere nearby, like ready to clean them up. It's quite fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this game, but like the loot game is so good. Like I lost all my stuff last night after like a 4-hour just amazing run of just like clapping cheeks and winning all these exfils. I was like, we were staying till the final exfil like every time, just so that we could kill everybody as they tried to run to the final exit, because we were so confident we could kill them. Like just like doing amazing. And then I lost it all. It was like at a casino where I kept pushing my luck. I was like, no, let's bring in all the good gear. Let's just keep doing it. And I lost it all, and it was devastating. And then immediately I didn't care. I was just like, oh, it's fun. I get to start kind of the climb again. I'm going to get a sponsored kit and see if I can kill somebody with a green shield, and then kill somebody with a blue shield, and just like kept moving up. And that feeling, like the fact that I'm not pissed at this game when I lose it all, is pretty great, because I get I get pretty heated in Tarkov when I lose my stuff. I'm not gonna lie, it sucks. It sucks losing your gear in Tarkov. In this game, I didn't really feel that badly about it. So yeah, there's a lot of things I really really enjoy. I worry about its ability to be successful. Definitely, I have no idea if this game is going to be successful. As you guys know, my track record of identifying good games, I think, is pretty good. Identifying successful games, I don't know, man. I'm not that guy. I don't know what makes a game successful or not. It seems sometimes completely random to me. So it truly does. It truly does.
It does to the devs too sometimes.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I bet, which must be scary.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I've met people online that I hung out with until 2:30 a.m. last night that were just like other players that, you know, we met in match made lobbies and recognized game, and we're like, let's play together. So it's been a really cool experience for me. I'm probably going to finish getting to level 30, update my review in progress, and then log off until the game comes out, because after level 30 I don't have a ton of incentive to keep playing, and I really am just waiting for the outpost map and the full experience to be there. But yeah, I played a ton of this game, and I'm really really enjoying it.
Yeah, and for those who may not be aware, if you're thinking about getting this game, you get some in-game bonuses when the game launches at 3 different levels during the server slam. So it's, if you just play it once, you get a couple charms and some other things. If you get up to level 10, you get a small few packs, like loadout packs when you launch the game.
That was
and
what
if
I was
you get to
aimed
level, if you get to level 30, you get a bunch of packs. You get like more rare stuff. So pretty good incentive to do that. At least try it. And check it out. It's definitely a very, as we've said, very unique game, very unique look, very unique kind of a lot of things about it. So give it a try. It's free. You know, it's live through tomorrow. Why not?
That's the other thing I worry about with this game, by the way. $40 price tag.
See, I always like that personally, only because
I like it too, but people are used to these types of games being free. Yeah.
Although Ark was paid, so
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely cool. There was, damn it, there. Oh, I did a run this morning just to check it out with Rook. So one thing I really like about this game is that, to Travis's point, you can use, there's always a free sponsored loadout you can take. So you can take a free kit based on one of the companies, and then if you run in and die, you don't really care because you didn't risk anything. But you can also play separately as a different class called Rook, where you go in solo, and you go in usually mid-run, like not at the start of a run. And basically, you're kind of weak. Your loadout's kind of weak, but you basically just scavenge. So I tried that this morning just to see what it felt like, and I loved it, dude. I went in, I walked out with like 1,400 credits, which isn't a ton, but I took some mods and another gun and stuff, exfilled successfully, and it was like, oh, that was cool because you don't risk anything. So I like that there's multiple ways to play where you don't have to risk any of your own vault if you don't want to.
So
I think that's
it's the equivalent of the scav run in Tarkov, where you can play like a character that is on the same team as the NPCs and run around, and the NPCs don't attack you, and so you can like hang out with them and help ambush players.
Except
if they
do here.
They do attack you, although you have an ability to turn yourself into a robot for a brief period of time, and so you can run around and like blend in with them. But they do attack you if you get into a firefight. But I think it's a pretty cool idea. It also announces when a Rook enters the match. I'm not sure if you've noticed that. Like if you're in a game,
because I was the Rook. I don't think I've heard that.
Yeah, no. if you're in a game and a Rook enters, it like lets you know that a Rook showed up, which I think is an interesting choice, because I'm like, are they like a threat? Like they're never a threat to me. Joining mid match with shit gear, like they're gonna get stomped if they show up. And I've killed my fair share of Rooks, but I think it's a great mechanic.
Contracts for Rooks.
You cannot do contracts while.
I know, but why do you think they turn them off?
That's a great question.
Because you don't have to risk anything playing as Rook, I think. So, like, if you were
sponsored kit, you don't risk anything either.
Sure, but yeah, I don't know.
I'd just be interested in that design question, because that's one of the reasons
I thought it was weird.
Not picking him is can't advance contracts. Like, isn't that why I'm playing the game?
Yeah, I mean, we can go into a bunch of. I think there's a lot of little things that I could complain about right now. I just don't want that to be the highlight of like what I'm talking about. Like, I have a problem with like the heat buildup. They fixed it a lot, but it still is there. The fall damage is way too oppressive. They really
make
like,
you upgrade those things.
Yeah, they're really overtuned it right now. There's just like the characters I think are, I mean, obviously they're just supposed to be shells, but I do feel like there's just a little bit of like generic, like that's the most generic thing about the game in my opinion, is like the character classes themselves. Um they're not as unique as the rest of Marathon in terms of vibe and world and all that stuff. So I have a bunch of like nagging. Oh, the geometry in the game also terrible. Like mantling is so inconsistent. You get caught on stuff in the world. Bungie has been bad at geometry in basically all of their games, and this is no exception. Like you will get stuck on stuff. You will try to climb up something, and your character will do like a weird like semi mantle and then fall down. Like you're gonna get killed by environmental stuff and things that feel super cheap. Like so, yeah, I've got like a laundry list of stuff I'll probably add to my review in progress today. But on the whole, like I'm just stoked to be playing this game.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let us know what you think, audience. Leave us a comment, what have you. But yeah, we'll be talking a lot more about Marathon here in the coming weeks once we get kind of our hands into the full version of it, of course, which launches next week. So we'll talk a little more next week, although it'll be a little early to kind of go into the deep. And as Travis said, the kind of end game stuff, probably a few weeks out too. So we'll come back to it. But as always, we got a couple comments this week around people seeing last week's show and saying things like, hey, like this popped up on my algorithm for the first time in a while. So as we always remind people, please hit that like, please share out. YouTube is a little weird with how it's managing things, but it always helps us. But let's get over to Resident Evil, which, as I said, I have finished reviewing. And so I'll talk a little bit about my thoughts on Resident Evil. And then are you guys playing this yet? How far are you? Where you at?
I am midway through what I would consider to be the first big area, the hospital.
With Grace? Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you're maybe a third, depending on something like that. Travis, you playing it yet?
Yeah, I just got through the part where you install the game and then you look at its like icon on your console dashboard.
Fair enough.
Yeah, which
Fair
I thought
enough.
was cool. I thought it was a cool, like really intuitive process. Like you click on it, it asks you for money, and then like you install it. I thought that
You
was all really
install
good.
good thumbnail. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. I thought it was a
Yeah.
good user experience so far.
Well, let me offer up my thoughts here. No spoilers, of course, so don't panic if you're still playing or haven't played it yet. Excellent entry in the game, and a lot of what they kind of projected about this game being it is. And what I mean by that is it is definitely a dual protagonist game. So it sets that up early in the game in that you alternate between the new character Grace Ashcroft and Leon Kennedy, of course. You alternate between them pretty rapidly early on. And then after a few hours, it actually settles in to where you have an extended portion as Grace, and then you have an extended portion as Leon. And then it, I won't spoil anything, but it kind of alternates a little bit. In my opinion, the Grace section in the hospital where Hogue just mentioned, and the entire structure around that is the strongest part of the game. It's very, very well done, designed extremely well. It is very classic Resident Evil.
Pure Resident Evil is what I said to my daughter. Yes.
Yeah, it is exactly that. Pure Resident Evil. It does big enemies well. I think it does big enemies better than 2 or 3 with Nemesis and Mr. X, which I was never fans of. I don't want to, again, spoil anything, but the way it kind of sets up these big enemies and the way you deal with them is different, and it's more intuitive than the classic, just you have to run because something's constantly chasing you. It's a little bit different. But I spent my first playthrough. I've seen people finish this in 12 hours. I think that's a little fast. I think that's kind of cruising a little bit. Mine was closer to 16, 17 hours. I kind of made sure to do most of everything. I think the structure works, and this game is going to work most for people who just love all of Resident Evil. And what I mean by that, I think we've talked about many times on the show, is that different Resident Evils have different look and feels, play styles, everything. 4 is very different from 2. The action segments are very different from the survival horror segments. This puts it all together in one big grand package, and you kind of mix and match throughout. And so you kind of have this quick transition initially, like I said, and then you go into survival horror for a few hours. And then when you get to Leon, you basically go into almost what's similar to like a mercenaries mode, to where it's structured that way. And then eventually, as I was joking about on our Discord the other day, you get into the later game, and it definitely goes full bore, crazy, over the top Resident Evil anime style. So there's not only lots of nostalgia, which is actually very cool in certain segments, but it definitely just goes over the top with its storytelling and crazy conspiracy and everything else. So the whole kit and caboodle of Resident Evil is here in Requiem. And as I said, I think if you're just purely a fan of the franchise and don't have any super hard feelings of one direction or the other, you're going to enjoy the living hell out of this game. If you enjoy one aspect of Resident Evil but not others, it might be more of a mixed bag for you. Personally, I just take Resident Evil as the silly, over the top, ridiculous franchise it is, and I kind of love both survival horror and the more action segments. So I really, really enjoyed this game. I'm giving it a 9. I think it is excellent, top to bottom. There are a few complaints here and there I have about the game, so this is not a spoiler because it's already been shown. But eventually, as Leon, you go back to Raccoon City. It's part of the structure of the game, which is great from a nostalgia perspective. But the section that you play through with him just feels a little bland. It just feels like, hey, it could have been more interesting, especially coming from Grace. As I said, with the hospital and what she goes through is very well done. So there's some small things like that I think could have been done better. But overall, I think when you take this game, and I'm playing it for a second time right now, I'm already back in the hospital. So I think when you take this game on the whole and everything it accomplishes, as well as like certain aspects of the presentation, I mean, the quality of the presentation here is staggering.
It looks
The
great.
RE engine can. Sorry, Hope.
I said it looks great.
It's
and I'm playing on
unbelievable.
my Switch. I mean, it's an insane Switch 2 game.
I've heard that. Yeah, I haven't played it on the Switch. I reviewed it on PC, which is stunning, max settings and everything. And then I'm playing it on the PS5 Pro. And if you didn't know, Sony aligned this announcement with the launch of Requiem that the new version of PSSR, their upscaling technology, launched this week, and this is the first game. And it is really stunning. I'm shocked, honestly. Outside of, if you're really looking, you can see the texture quality on some things is not as good as PC, which is completely standard. That's always going to be the case versus a high-end PC. But other than that, it looks 95% as good as my PC on my PS5 Pro, which is super impressive. And so I've just been loving it. The presentation's great. The sound design is remarkable. It's incredibly well done in the directional sound, the way they use sound to really creep you out, obviously, in certain segments. The voice acting, like Grace's voice actor, is spectacular. Give her all the flowers now. She is amazing. So there's just a lot of really, really well produced and constructed parts of this game, and Capcom continues to show that they're raising that bar from a quality perspective in the AAA space. It's been cool to see. So another fantastic Resident Evil. I'm glad it kind of met the high expectations. It seems to be selling extremely well. Critically, it's sitting at like a 90, so it's been reviewed critically extremely well as well. So seems to be another blockbuster for Capcom, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be Capcom's year, having played the Pragmata demo and the Monster Hunter Stories 3 demo. I mean, like,
and Onimusha too, knocking
it out of the park this year. But yeah, at the risk of once again violently agreeing with our main host Ainsley, I am not as far as him. I have not beaten the game. I have been stunned at how much I've enjoyed Resident Evil 9 Requiem so far.
Yes.
And to put this in perspective, my favorite kind of era of the Resident Evil franchise is like 2, 3. I love the urban tech horror focus more than the Spanish viruses and the Louisiana hillbillies and the Winters saga and everything else. So this is vibe-wise my favorite vibe that Resident Evil ever puts on. And gameplay-wise, they've taken the best parts of something like Village. They've taken the best parts of something like Resident Evil 6, which you can say what you will about that game, does have some best parts. And they've put it all together with the best vibe that the series has ever had. And what I think of while I'm playing this is that this is like Sonic Generations or something like that. Like, look at the 2D Sonic, look at the 3D Sonic, look at the various things we've done with Resident Evil, and we're putting them all in one package. And it's a little jarring to go between Grace and Leon when you first do it. But these two very different types of games work in harmony so far that I've played. And when they're on full bore with like Grace in the hospital, which is the closest that it's been to like the Raccoon City Police Department in decades. And the horror of the first person perspective in 7 and 8. And you're just like, wow, this thing is just a melange. It's a stew of all these great ideas that only ever kind of poked their heads out of water in those games when they first appeared, right? Like I've said, I'm on record saying I don't love Village, but one of the things I really loved about Village was that was like the doll section. And so like they said, all right, well, let's take the doll section, blow it out into a full bore portion of this game and run through it as a character. It's fantastic. I love this thing so much. And the fact that I can play it on a portable system and that my daughter's enjoying it with me is just crazy. This thing actually made me happy. I have been in a very stressful work environment for basically the entire month. I have been working through that and not engaging even with the games that I've been enjoying with as much as I would like to. And I got done with like a 3-hour session of Resident Evil Requiem on Friday, like just the opening bits. And for whatever reason, I was just lighter of foot, smiling a little bit more, happier to be in this world. And it's that game. I love this thing. And yeah, 9 feels right, if not higher. Obviously, I have a lot more to play, but just really high production values, really smart design decisions, really cool stuff all the time. Love this game. Love, love, love Resident Evil 9 Requiem.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see once you finish it and you go through Leon's section. I think Leon's section is going to be the lower part for you from what we've discussed. It was for me as well. Yeah, and I don't want to spoil anything, but like when I look at 4, like I've said before, I think if you take the whole picture of Resident Evil now, 4 Remake is probably my favorite. And I'm trying to think in my head, and I don't want recency bias to creep in or anything. And I'm like, I don't know if 9 or Requiem clears Resident Evil 4 Remake. I'll think about that more in time. But when I think about Leon's section of this game, I think if that was a little more creative and a little more interesting, like Grace's section is, to your description you just gave, which is spot on, I think this would be the top. And the only thing holding it back in my head right now is his kind of section of the game. It's not bad, but it's just not up to that level. Whereas I think 4 was a little more creative in its variety and the things you do as Leon. This feels a little one-notish, but other than that, it's an amazing game.
Well, the only thing that might save it for me there is
the Chris end of the stick in like Resident Evil 6.
Yes, the Chris, the boring arc. Well, I haven't played it yet, obviously, but the only thing that might save it for me there is that my expectation going in when I heard this project described is like, okay, the Grace stuff is for me. I will work through the Leon stuff. And the very small bit of Leon that you got early on was like, well, at least the gameplay here is really solid.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah.
So that'll get me through most of it. But yeah, I'm not expecting to be wowed by Leon as much as I am by Grace. And Grace has been over and above what I had even expected them to deliver. So
me too. Yeah.
Constantly
she's fantastic.
surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. She's awesome. So, and I wrote in my review that one of the things, the kind of dichotomy of Resident Evil and its characters and all these differences is if you think back even to Resident Evil 1, right, all the way back, you are a STARS, you're Redfield or Jill in the first one, and then you play as Leon, right, in the second,
and Claire. Give Claire her
and
flowers.
Claire. I couldn't remember her name. Claire, who's a little bit different in that space, so maybe in that space, but like generally speaking, you're one of these STAR soldiers or something, and Grace is very different, right? Like Grace is completely vulnerable. She has no combat training. She's shaking in her boots at everything that happens around her, and I think that setup of the survival horror elements in the hospital really works well together. It's really neat.
Yeah, it's actually unclear why they made her an FBI agent, honestly, because of that. I have seen some commentary about her being too scared to be an FBI agent. Like, no, they established she's a desk analyst.
She's a
FBI
data
is a big
analyst.
Organization.
Yeah, she's an intelligence analyst. Yeah, I confirmed that for my review, but yeah. So anyway, let me get to, I got Alex's super chat's been sitting here for a while just to shout it out.
Yeah.
Uh, Slayer Giants, $1.99 super chat. Requiem is Resident Evil's Metal Gear Solid 4 moment. Happy 30th Aniv. RE.
Yep, 30th anniversary of Resident Evil. It's a good celebration, as Hogue and I both just said. It's a melting pot of all these ideas of various Resident Evils, and I think a, far and away more successful than not successful at pulling all those things together.
Yeah, I mean, I said that it felt like Sonic Generations, and it is that kind of melting pot. Usually, I have a certain barrier that comes up when I know it's like a celebration of a series or something like that, because I think that the overall is going to be less than. Like you're doing this to celebrate something different than the story that you're putting in front of you. But this one is working much better as, yes, we're doing those things, but all in the service of this story we want to tell right now. It feels very good. It feels very organic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're going to enjoy it, Travis, whenever you eventually get to it. Alex, thank you.
That'll be a while, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the super
Especially, I
chat,
mean,
my friend.
look, I only have a couple more hours left of marathon today, so maybe I'll play it today. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe you can get to it this week a little bit.
This
Yeah.
could happen, yeah.
No, but it's it's fantastic. So recommended, highly recommended. If you're a fan of any of the Resident Evils, give this one a shot. And to Hoag's point, I've heard nothing but great things about the Switch 2 release of it. Plays great on
Which
console,
is crazy.
PC.
It's good
Yeah,
on Switch. I know. What's funny about that is Capcom convinced me to buy it on Switch, not with anything about Resident Evil, but with their Pragmata demo, because I know it's the same engine. So I played that demo on my Switch. I said, okay, so this works fine on the Switch too. I will give Requiem a try, and it has been fantastic.
Nice. Love it. So that's Resident Evil. Let me know if you have any questions about it. I'm happy to answer without spoilers, of course. But for now, we'll move on. Hogue, you said you had a couple things you were playing from Steam Next Fest, which,
Yes.
if you don't know, audience or anyone listening, Steam Next Fest, a bunch of demos from a lot of independent publishers and developers, and just kind of games to try and check out. And they try to spotlight a bunch of unique things. So it's a great time to just get in there, look around, play around. And Hogue said he had a couple games he wanted to call out, so let's do it.
I do. I have 3 Steam Next Fest games I want to particularly call out and discuss with you all here today that I really have enjoyed. For people that don't know, there's multiple thousands of demos here. Steam runs this as a festival and tells indie developers kind of as an artificial FOMO kind of thing that we can put a demo up and we'll take it down at the end of the festival. So there's just thousands available. Nobody can know all of them. But the 3 that I wanted to call out specifically, at least one is one that I think people are going to recognize. The Vampire Survivors developers have been working on a roguelike card game version of their design called Vampire Crawlers. That was the top item that I wanted to check out this Steam Next Fest. It was the first demo I played. I really like it. I do not want to doubt their design space abilities here, but early days here, early decks, working through the first couple of areas, I worry about it not having enough things to think about, enough stuff to do to keep me going for long. At the first instance of this game, it's immediately kind of zippy and enjoyable, and you can see why people are so excited about this release. I just don't know how much it evolves, how much it advances to keep your interest for a long period of time. That said, a lot of fun. One of my top 3 demos that I've played. But awesome. Not one of my top 2 demos, because that goes to number 2, Froggy Hates Snow, which you should know. Is, again, you go into the Steam Next Fest, you never know what the titles are going to be. You never know what you're going to play. This is a survival crafter incremental roguelike game about a frog that's stuck in the cold and has to clear away enough snow to survive. And in clearing away the snow, he collects resources. He brings those resources back. He gets upgrades like shovels and skis, and upgrades to his own stats. And then occasionally monsters come and attack, which are mostly handled by being near them in a kind of Vampire Survivors way, where you just have to stand near the monsters and your tongue will go out and hit them with your frog powers. But just a really cool design, really nice tech with moving the snow around. One of my favorite demos of the week. Check out Froggy Hates Snow. I doubt you'll forget that title. I love a good direct title. That's my number 2 favorite game. And my number 1 favorite game, and I do like that our fantasy critic league has its timer for bids immediately before this show, so I can go and sneak in those bids before I give this Hogs Note section. But I did sneak in and go and grab Esoteric Ebb, which is Disco Elysium by way of Dungeons and Dragons. So the basic premise here is it's a Disco Elysium type text RPG where instead of the multi-fractured version of your psyche talking to you, it's the various stats in a Dungeons and Dragons character that talk to you. So your strength is arguing with your charisma, is arguing with your dexterity, etc. They all have personalities, and you're a cleric that is in this crazy world with Dungeons and Dragons rules that is going through its first election between these various different parties. And I could not recommend it more. It is not quite as political or as metaphorical as Disco Elysium, but it's clearly informed by it. But it has a lot of clever writing, gorgeous graphically, a lot better looking, in my opinion, than Disco. And so I wanted to call out Esoteric Ebb because I think so highly of it. I wanted to go and snag it in our bid process at the end of Saturday before I mentioned it all to y'all.
I saw someone comment on that, which is awesome. Art style looks amazing. Yeah, it looks really, really cool. It's just time, man. Wish I had more time to kind of check these types of things out. It looks neat, though.
Nobody can play all the Steam Next Fest demos. It's impossible.
No.
And for those 3 that I just mentioned, there's another 9 where I gave it like 5 minutes and said, nope, that's not what I was looking for.
Gotcha. Pretty cool. And it looks like the developer of the game is broadcasting it today, too. So you can check that out if you want to see
Nice. I know that one of the reasons I snagged it is it has an actual hard release date of early March. I think it's like 3 days away or something.
this week. Okay. All right. Cool. Awesome. Travis, anything outside of Marathon? Obviously, you've been on hard, as we said, but anything else you can speak about this week?
Nope, not that I can talk about. I've got some stuff. GDC's coming up. And yeah, I got some stuff I'll be able to talk about. Well, honestly, kind of a long way from now. nothing in the near future. So
okay.
Yeah.
Also, for the community, we did not forget about our marathon stream. We promised you a marathon stream with the 3 of us. We will coordinate it. GDC is next weekend, so we're trying to figure out when we can kind of collaborate on this. Guys, in our private chat, we were saying maybe Thursday, but the game isn't out till Friday.
Well, then we can't do it then.
So it probably won't be this week with Travis being at GDC, but we have not forgotten. We will not forget. So just stay tuned. We'll coordinate that on the side and let you know.
Yeah, this weekend's rough, but does the game come out Thursday? What is the?
Well, it's got
it may come out Thursday, but maybe night. You know what I mean? Like late.
Yeah.
So, and us trying to do a live stream when it launches probably a bad idea. So,
well, because you're just gonna get error grapefruit or whatever from Bungie. Right?
Yeah.
They actually do animals always.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
So you're gonna need to say mongoose or
yeah, gorilla.
Some mammals. Yeah.
I did know that they were objects. They were things that were the names of their error codes.
They were nouns for sure. Yeah.
The only other thing that was going on this weekend, which people may not be aware of, is the Horizon Hunters Gathering kind of closed test. It was people were invited to that. Alex was playing it. He has not spoken very highly of it, and that's what I'll leave it as today. But if anyone in the audience has been checking that out, let us know. I'm kind of curious to see what people are thinking of that. So, yeah. All right. Let's jump over to a couple topics from reporting this week. So Jason Schreier broke a few things this week, which got spread and reported relating to PlayStation. So I want to touch on a few of these things, guys. The first, which we'll touch on, and he wasn't the only one. This has been kind of rumored for a little while. And then John Linneman over at Digital Foundry commented on it, and people were like, is he just making this up? But then Schreier came, he was on a podcast and also posted, I think, on one of the forums and basically said, no, like he can't talk about it too much right now. He doesn't, it's not fully complete for a story, but he can basically confirm, like, this is not just a rumor, that PlayStation is going to start pulling back on single player game releases on PC. So again, I know other people have talked about this. There's been rumors about this, but essentially I went in and dug into what he said. And essentially that it just turns out that the single player aspect is not returning monetarily, really enough to make it worth it, I suppose, for their time, or maybe their future direction in terms of next generation, especially with, as we've talked about here and other places have talked about, with Xbox basically being a PC. You would add Xbox being able to play PlayStation games, which would have been a little strange to some capacity. But regardless, this is kind of interesting because obviously about a year, maybe 2 years ago, it seemed like PlayStation was starting to go down the path of that Xbox has gone down, which was, we're just going to push everything to PC. It may be a little delayed. It may be 6 months post-launch, whatever the case may be on a case-by-case basis. But kind of interesting that they're going the other direction now, and seemingly will only put their live service titles on PlayStation if the reports are true.
I think that those rumors of Steam running on the next box were clarifying for Sony. I really do. And so you need outsized returns from that process if you're also going to be fueling your TV box competitor at the same time. And I think that those outsized returns definitely weren't there. So that makes a lot of sense to me. I think it's part of this story. And I think this story actually develops when Sony releases that Wolverine release date teaser, and it doesn't have anything but a PlayStation logo on it, right? Am I wrong?
I don't remember, honestly.
Okay. So, I mean, I think that was the notion, is that Wolverine's only coming to PlayStation, and part of the reporting around that was it's not coming to PC. I don't think it's coming around ever. And then Schreier, angry tweeting on NeoGAF, gets this whole ball of wax rolling. But yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for Sony to say we need to evaluate where we're putting things, especially if they're going to wind up on an Xbox. I think that's part of this story. I think you can't ignore that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, I have to imagine that's part of it. We talked about that from the very outset of the discussion on the next Xbox and what that would mean from a marketplace perspective. So, I mean, you can't ignore it.
But I also wouldn't be surprised if there's more to the story here, right? Which is to say that right now, the only way to put games on and really get them adopted is through Steam. And we strongly suspect that PlayStation is working on other portals. And it was only like, what, one state of play ago where they also announced their PC speakers as part of their major announcements.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I think there's a lot more cooking on all of this than is indicated by any one kind of anonymously sourced Sony article from wherever it comes from.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair too, right? The rumors of a PlayStation launcher have been around for quite a while now, and if that were to come to fruition, that obviously changes the conversation. So, no, I think that's perfectly fair. So, we'll see what happens here. You know, this obviously comes parallel to a lot of conversations about next gen consoles in general, and given everything going on in the marketplace, the expense of resources and things like RAM and CPUs and GPUs, like, when are those platforms even going to exist at this point in time? You know, Steam famously didn't even give a release date on their Steam box, and they still haven't, which was supposed to come this year. And, you know, coming into March now, as we record this, with no release date for a console that's supposed to be coming this year, just goes to show how volatile the marketplace is right now, for a company even as big as Valve.
Well, it doesn't help that nobody has any idea what the tariff rates are from anywhere right this second.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely a mess. So, Travis, you care about PlayStation on PC at all?
Yeah. I mean, I think we got very close to a world where the stupid console war shit was over, and then backed out. And it's actually interesting, just in general, seeing kind of both companies seem to be retreating from their previous, like, ambitious, this is the future kind of ideas. Like, Xbox, if the reporting is true, seems to be pulling back on, like, the everything is an Xbox, play anywhere type stuff. And I don't know how much of that is going to stay in the new Asha world, especially if she's focused on adoption as, like, her primary gauge of success, adoption on Xbox specifically. And then PlayStation going back and, you know, kind of pulling, maybe taking the opportunity, or maybe just a strategy shift, but pulling back on kind of their commitments. My first thought when I saw this stuff was, oh, players are going to be annoyed by that. It's because, especially like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, like they I think that they don't understand the console exclusivity thing at all, and don't care about it, and find it infuriating. as they should. I mean, everybody should find it infuriating. It's a completely antiquated idea, and a completely artificial like barrier that we've just kind of accepted. So yeah, I find it kind of annoying. And we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I read this and was like, oh cool, that's annoying. That'll piss players off, undoubtedly.
Well, to backstop Travis there, even on exclusivity, I've seen certain bits and pieces on my social media feeds of people being upset that the new Pokemons are only coming to the Switch 2. That's not quite the same thing, but there is definitely an underswell of people upset about the notion of certain plastic boxes only playing certain games entirely. That is 100% true.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of annoying, and then I think Nintendo's model is like backwards the way they think of exclusivity, but I think it's also their business model because that's how they've remained relevant and kept people on their platform. So the model works. I just don't think it's a pro-consumer model. It is like annoying to the consumer, I think.
No, I think you're right, and I think you're right on the generations too. Generations of people, not hardware. In the sense of the younger people just expect to play a game where they want to play it. If they hear about a game, Nintendo, someone in chat saying Nintendo's doing fine. It's like, we know, we're not naive to the state of Nintendo. But
Right.
Nintendo is a class all its own. They're very unique in the space. And the other companies don't have that benefit of Nintendo's brand name, their IP strength, everything that goes along with Nintendo being Nintendo. It's just a very different situation for someone like Xbox. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Obviously, Hogue, I think you're kind of spot on with, there's a lot of other factors that could come into play here. So we'll see. The other thing that was reported, which kind of set the world ablaze a little bit anyway, if you're on my timeline, for the people that are always clamoring for Bloodborne to be remade. Now over 10 years old, I'll remind you, coming up on 11 years old since Bloodborne launched. So reported by Schreier as well that the closure of Blue Point in alignment, or as an addendum to that, they were kind of floundering with this God of War live service franchise that PlayStation wanted them to make. They spent a few years on it and it just didn't kind of come to fruition, so it gets canceled. And last year, he reported, they did pitch going to remake Bloodborne. And it wasn't PlayStation that said no. It was From Software that said no. Now, keep in mind, PlayStation owns the IP here. So if PlayStation wants to remake it, in theory, legally, they could. But obviously, there's things beyond the legal sense with the relationship you have with a company like From Software. And apparently, according to, I had to go into this to see who reported what. So this is almost like talking down the line, if you will. This is a report from a report of a person of a rumor, so take this as you will. But according to Jason's report, it was Yoshida Shuhei that said that he believes it's because Miyazaki, in conversations he's had, Miyazaki wants to oversee the Bloodborne remake himself, and that he doesn't want to just hand it off to a different team or someone outside of From Software. So kind of interesting. As I thought about what From Software is working on, obviously they're kind of wrapping up with Night Rain now. They have Dustblood still to release on the Switch 2, which is a new IP for them. But of course, we're 4 years. This week was the 4-year anniversary of the GOAT, Elden Ring, releasing. And so it goes with a pretty healthy assumption that they are well into development on whatever their next mainline major title is. And so it doesn't really surprise me if Miyazaki is too busy to obviously oversee a third game in parallel. So who knows what to take of this one? Will we ever get a Bloodborne remake? Who the heck knows? But I hope so. It is a very, very good game. But I think Miyazaki wanting to hold it close to his chest isn't necessarily a bad thing either, because if you do remake Bloodborne, I think there's some quality of life changes and some other things you make to that game. And I think I'd rather trust Miyazaki to do that than just some third-party team. Travis doesn't agree.
I mean, I think
there's other Souls likes to remake in their repertoire.
Why would
You don't
you
need to do
why
Bloodborne.
would you want Bloodborne to be stuck on old technology if you didn't have to?
Well, why would I want the original Dark Souls to be stuck on old technology if I don't want to? Like, that's older. It's a better game by far. Remake that.
Well, Dark Souls was remastered in 2019, I think.
Yeah,
Demon
but
Souls, right?
no, we're talking about Dark Souls. No, he's right that the original Dark Souls was also remastered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Is that what you were
Bloodborne
talking about?
hasn't
Or
been
you're talking
touched.
about Demon Souls.
He's
No.
talking about Demon Souls.
I was just getting confused as to what Travis's point was. It's just as per usual.
My point is,
No
it's an
problem.
older game. Dark Souls 2, there's a game that could use a remaster. Remake.
But Bloodborne is a great candidate for the Demon Souls treatment. Like,
Travis has never been a big fan of Bloodborne.
Yeah,
you have
it's
to remember that.
Worst FromSoft game. Like, just
It's
move
not
on.
the worst FromSoft game.
What's the worst FromSoft game?
FromSoft in their entire history? Or are we just talking about the
it's gonna
main
be like
line?
Armored
About
Core
the
Soldier or
Souls likes.
something.
The Souls
Mainline Souls games? I'd say, my opinion, Demon Souls is the worst one.
Really?
Yes.
I quite like Demon Souls.
I like it,
Interesting.
but it's still the worst one of the 7. I did a ranking on this recently.
I think Bloodborne's the worst. It's
No,
basically a hack and slash.
It is a very different game. You and I agree on that. I think the
it's not
combat
good.
systems are too light. They're not deep enough like the Souls games. But I think from just an overall game perspective, it's still fantastic. Personally.
Meh.
Well, regardless, I liked what Aiden said about the difference between legal and practical rights. I say this a lot in virtual legality when I'm making virtual legalities, which isn't often right now, which is to say that people get very scared about terms and conditions and licenses and all sorts of things that we can see with our own eyes. But in the corporate world, you also have these contracts that say, okay, Sony owns the intellectual property, and they could make a Bloodborne remake. They could make a Bloodborne Tetris game if they wanted right now. Why don't they? One of the reasons is because the relationship between Sony and FromSoft is important enough to not piss off everybody over there by exercising your own legal rights. So if this is actually what FromSoft was saying, and I always kind of say take everything with a grain of salt when it's sourced like one of these articles.
Sure.
But if this is actually what FromSoft is saying, Sony is evaluating not just the potential revenue from a Bloodborne remake, not just making sure Bluepoint is happy, but also what it would look like to piss off FromSoft, which is obviously not worth it when they're making the games that they're making right now. So that all makes sense to me. I guess I'm a little resentful from the auteur perspective of, oh, only I can make a remake like that, but also I'm too busy. Like if that's the actual state of affairs, I don't like that as a stance. I understand it from an artistic and humanity perspective, but I don't have to like it. So if that's actually what happened, I think that's unfair to a lot of folks, Sony, Bluepoint, Bloodborne fans, and I would hope that it got corrected.
Yeah. Oh my God, Mickey Doe. See, this some of the community thinks this way, Travis, and I know I have other friends who think this way. They think that Bloodborne is the top FromSoft game, which I think is insane.
They're crazy.
Yeah, but Mickey Doe just
Wild.
posted. He thinks Bloodborne's number 1, Elden Ring's number 2, Dark Souls 1 is number 3.
I think I'd have Sekiro higher.
Sekiro usually gets kind of put over here on the side.
Yeah?
It's not
ranked
very
with the Souls
game.
games.
More like making
it's a very different game. I mean, I love it. It's a great game, and I think it does a lot of things extremely well. But it's not really considered a Souls game in that vein.
I didn't realize. Okay,
I consider it a Souls game.
So
I mean, it is, but it's when you talk to people about their list, Sekiro is sometimes included, sometimes not. But
I would include it. It's definitely a better version of Bloodborne. You know,
Sekiro a better game than Bloodborne. That's a good debate right there.
Why are you just throwing all this shade at?
He doesn't like Bloodborne.
I had no idea.
It's just the least. I mean, look, it's a good game.
This is like when I talk about Resident Evil 4.
I just can't. It's the least impressive one. People are so excited about it because of the vibes. The vibes.
Yes, vibes matter.
Oh my God, the vibes.
People love the gothic nature
boring.
of it.
Yes. That's the Castlevania Eldritch Horror combo.
Exactly.
Is more
it's just
accessible
the most forgettable game.
Often
It's
something
not
people
a
like more.
it's
than,
not a
like,
hard game. You can beat it in an afternoon. It's just boring. Move on.
Fair enough. We can move on. I just didn't know this about you, Travis.
We got to clip this for sure. I say
Yeah.
that and I always forget to clip it. Let me take a note before I forget. I'm gonna take a note. Where are we at? 119. All right, Travis.
Take a
Shits
note.
on Bloodborne.
Also, the multiplayer
Can you
in
name
that
the
game
short
was
that?
broken.
Yes.
The entire time that game was around. You guys remember that?
What is broken?
The multiplayer?
Yeah,
What was
that's
it?
yeah. I mean, the multiplayer.
All I remember is I remember being frustrated about the online connection. I don't remember what the online connection of the game was
it
like.
didn't work well.
I just remember it not working.
The Chalice dungeons aren't great either.
They're
procedurally
yes, dude. Oh my god, don't get me started on the procedural dungeons.
Okay, but the vibes, the world does matter, Travis.
The
it's a part
vibes.
of the art.
Listen to yourself.
I'd
The
much
vibes.
rather be in Bloodborne's world than to be talking to giant fingers and Elden Rings. That's just how I feel.
Whoa. There will be no
Whoa.
disparaging Elden Ring on this.
Don't talk about my
podcast.
fingers like that, dude. Don't talk about
No, you walk into a dark room and you talk to fingers, and it's like, you know what? I get it, but this is not my type of dark fantasy.
You heard it here. Hogue doesn't like to be fingered. This is true.
And here, I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
As someone, I think it was Proc said, disagreement is back, baby. There we go.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm mostly overselling my opinions here so that we can have a spicy segment.
There
But I do think Bloodborne is the weakest of a very fantastic library of FromSoft games. Bloodborne's definitely the least interesting.
I tell people that. They're like, to your point, they ask me which I think is the worst. I say Demon's Souls, and I'm like, but it's still a great game. It's just,
Yeah.
I think,
Like we're talking about 8s, 9s, and 10s here, and I would put Bloodborne on like the low 8s.
I'm trying to think of which one I like the least. Like, which is the Dark Souls with all the real labyrinthine poison marsh crap?
The original Dark Souls.
I mean, it could be 1 or 2 or 3.
I mean, you're describing every Dark Souls game. Literally
1,
all of them.
2, 3.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't like
Which
Dark
one?
Souls.
Oh, you know what? Actually, you are talking about Demon Souls. I know exactly which area you're talking about.
Yeah, there's an entire world in Demon Souls that is just
That's
shit.
what he's talking about. That's what he's talking about. Yeah.
I'm telling you, Demon Souls laid the foundation, obviously, for what was to come. And there's good. You can see that thought process there. It's just not executed nearly as well as the Souls game.
The idea of being teleported to different realms and having like that main portal hub and like all of the realms feeling different was really cool.
See,
I thought
you're stuck on vibes today, Travis. It's not about
no, it's not vibes. It's not vibes. Multiplayer battle where the boss fight is other players. That was Demon Souls.
Great idea. Yes.
Amazing idea. They did that and they executed it well. That's a fantastic boss fight. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just saying. Also, Dark Souls is standing on the shoulders of giants. Demon Souls.
You limit stuff in the world for white or dark, and you have to like manipulate that, and like some of the systems don't work well in that.
White or dark?
White or dark. Like you have to do certain things, and like if you are, say you're too good, right, or you do good, right, then there's stuff in the game, including characters, weapons, and stuff
the morality
you don't
thing,
see. So then you have to like be bad, but then you lock out other stuff. And that, I don't know.
There's some interesting ideas that don't work out, but man,
execution is a great thing.
I love that game.
But anyway,
which one has
the poison marsh? Yes,
they all have the poison marsh. It's true. Oh, it's true.
It is very true. Yeah. Let's get Don Lionheart, Super Chat, or Gar, fourth Bitcast member here.
Don the Lion-Hearted, $5 Super Chat. Crawling vampires, evil residents. It's actually residences, isn't it? And long runs. The real game of the week is Yakuza 3 Remastered. Almost done with the plat. Excited for Greedfall 2.
He is obsessed with platinum trophies, and he was complaining on our Discord about spending all this time and how frustrating it was to get this platinum last week. And I'm like, why are you doing this? It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know why people do that.
I only do it if I'm in love with a game and want more reasons to play it, but I don't think that's Yakuza 3.
There's so many games. Go play something that makes you happy. Like, what are you doing?
Actually, Ains, I broke a friend who was a chronic, like 100%er.
Well done,
doing
sir.
That a year ago. I was just like, look, the way I approach games is I have my time with it, and I never play a game when I start hating it. And he started doing that, and he said it completely changed how much like joy he gets out of games versus how much he feels like it's work. And I was like, look at you, man.
There's
I
a
broke
million
you
games.
free,
Yeah.
free.
I tell people all the time, if you're playing a game and you're not having fun, why are you playing it? Go play something else. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Because it's work, man. It's because we're addicted to work in this country.
It's so
and
weird.
I'm here for it.
This is why I roll so few credits. Is that if it loses me, I go on to the next thing.
And that's okay. I mean, yeah, that's fine.
It's not that okay, I think, though.
But what's the difference? You just said trophies. I said credits. It's the same deal.
Yeah.
Well, my point has always been you shouldn't speak to a game definitively if you haven't finished it from a review perspective.
All he does is talk definitively about games he hasn't finished. That's Hoag's entire business model.
I was going to say, to be clear,
yeah,
the fact that you hear my voice is definitive on any of these things is not my issue. Everything can be cultured with in my opinion, if you would prefer. But I just speak with an authoritative voice.
Well, I think he means a definitive opinion, not objective statement, right? Like,
he said definitive. No, I get it. I understand what he's saying. I know, and I get this criticism a lot, is I speak with a certain amount of certainty when I say these things, but it is always with the understood. It's in my opinion. I haven't seen the rest of whatever, but I can tell you how I evaluate these things. I just told you I'm excited about Esoteric Ebb. I've played 2 hours of a demo of that game, but I'm sure enough that I went and got it in our Open Critic League that it's going to be a banger, as the kids say.
As the older adults say.
Yeah, the kids have not said that for a while, dude.
Travis, to your point about breaking that mentality, it was several years ago now when gamer score was the bigger thing. Like, what's your gamer score, and I remember talking to someone. I'm like, look, what's your gamer score? And it was like, I don't know, 120K, whatever it was. And I was like, if it was 250K tomorrow, what difference does that make? And they're like, well, none. I'm like, right. So that's like thousands and thousands of hours of time it'll take you to get 250K. It makes zero difference to anybody, anywhere, at any time.
The reason I like gamer score is because it kind of tells you that, like, they play a lot of games. You can sort of like get a
no, but I mean, you know what I mean in terms of like achievement hunting.
But people who are achievement hunting specifically, to me, is almost it kind of defeats the purpose of the gamer score, where it's like, all right, well, how much have you done and played? It's like, no, I actually went onto a wiki and I went through like a really comprehensive list of specific instructions to follow to get there. Yep. And then instead of playing the game, I just went down my laundry list like a sociopath and ticked off every box and then got to the end. It's like, but what did you learn? What did you gain from that experience, really?
All right, but enough about Colin.
Dude, it's pathological.
There's a lot of people I've talked to. Someone I spoke to recently finished Bloodborne. We're back on Bloodborne for the first time, but they're like, yeah, I got the platinum. And I'm like, okay, well, on your first playthrough, because you have to do chalice dungeon stuff on that. It's like well, you just followed a guide and ran through the game. And I'm like, dude, that is so boring. Like, that is counter to the idea of playing that game.
It is.
Have you gotten to the part where certain people will not play video games because they look online first and they find out that the platinum is too hard and they don't want to have any games on their account that they don't have every achievement or trophy in? And I'm like, bro, you are now missing out on good games because you're like, oh, the platinum's too hard, or
I think the only platinums I have at all are when I get to the end of the game and it's like I go and look and the last 3 things are super easy.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'll be like, man, I really love, like, that was prime example was Like a Dragon, the Yakuza game, the turn-based one. I beat that game and I was like, I have to play more of this. I do not want to stop. And so I was looking for things to do. Couldn't find anything in the game. Open up the achievements, super hard achievements. I was like, let's go. I'm going to get all these because I'm just having such a good time. That to me is what 100% a game should be. It's like, I was so into this game. Celeste was another one. I was like, how do I get all the achievements I want to keep playing? It's like, if you get every achievement, it's because you loved a game so much you felt like an obligation to do it, not like I was just doing it because that's what you do in games. You go down the laundry list and watch a guide, and it's so annoying.
That's why I have a bunch. Like most of the games I have 100% on are Halo games. Go figure. Things like that. But yeah, it's crazy to me. The other thing, and we don't want to stay on this rant for too long. The other thing that annoys me is when people say, well, I platted that game as if they 100%ed it. And I'm like, platting a game does not mean you 100%ed a game. It just means you met the trophy requirements. Like people
Yeah.
say, I've seen in everything in Elden Ring. I platted Elden Ring. I was like, you absolutely did not see everything in Elden Ring because you got the platinum. Like there's
Yeah.
tons that you don't have to do in Elden Ring and still get the platinum.
Yeah, some
So.
games you can platinum without finishing it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's
crazy
weird.
notion.
Yeah.
All right. We're off on our rant now. But I appreciate that I'm with two other sensible humans here. Don, I hope you were listening, sir. Go play something fun. Stop torturing yourself.
Actually,
Um,
when Don raised Kiwami 3, it reminded me that it was one of the few games in the Yakuza series that I didn't pick up because there was just too much else going on this month. But I'll probably circle back around for it at some point.
Gotcha. And of course, you know, jokes aside, right? As I tell people all the time, if getting platinums is what you enjoy, by all
Yeah.
means do it. People should do what they enjoy, right? It's a strange thing to me personally. One other thing this week to comment on, boys, is we talked last week at length about Xbox's situation. Obviously, the shift. We gave all our commentary about that. So this week, Jez over at Windows Central, everyone here I think knows Jez. He's been on the channel several times. He got an exclusive interview with Asha and Matt Booty to talk about just some, you know, kind of first thoughts as she comes in as the new CEO of gaming. And I saw some people, you know, obviously sharing this. It became quite big, at least anecdotally, in the gaming community. Other people criticizing. I'm like, look, this is a first interview, someone who just got the role. Obviously, if you've done these types of interviews, you know it's not anything is on the table and we're going to talk for 4 hours. Like Jez probably had a pretty limited structure, and he says that he could kind of approach here. But I did think there was a few good comments out of this, so I'd check it out if I were you. You can obviously find his review online. But one thing I wanted to comment on that I pulled out for our notes here, guys, and this is a quote from Asha that I'm just going to read.
Okay.
She says, excuse me. She says, I am committed to returning to Xbox, and that starts with console. That starts with hardware. You will hear more about that soon. We'll have some announcements coming up. You will see us collectively investing here. We also know that there are a lot of players who aren't on console or are hardware, and I want to deliver great games to them too. I need to learn more about what that can look like, what decisions were made, what we need to do going forward, and I want a little bit of time and space to do that. She also goes on and she talks what I would consider what I would want to hear out of someone in that space if I were working for them. She talks about needing to parse through the data. She needs to understand more about the market segmentation, and some other things around how they're going to approach decisions. And she had a quote or a sentence which sounds funny when you say it, but if you take a second, you understand what she's saying. She said the plan is the plan until it's not the plan, which sounds ridiculous, right? But I mean, you get what she's saying, which is like everything that's in flight for Xbox right now is what was decided by the previous leadership for years and various reasons that have come into play. But that's as of that moment, or at this moment, it's the plan. She's going to take time to evaluate things, and that plan may change. The other thing that Matt Booty called out,
the plan is the plan until it's not the plan.
so it's not the plan. Yeah,
that was
and then
that
Matt
was
Booty
I was like, that's a tech startup thing. That is absolutely. Yeah.
And then Matt Booty called out, he felt the need to comment that, look, we still have really good ambiguity with our studios. We want to allow them the creative space, and basically said that there is no Microsoft mandate from top down in relation to AI. Now, of course, this could be lip service, who knows? But he basically said, and Asha commented too, that like, look, of course, we're going to look at all the tools that we can use to invest in making games. However, we are also not just going to release a bunch of AI generated stuff. I forget the wording she uses. Slop gets thrown in there too.
Soulless AI slop.
Thank you.
Soulless
AI
I tweeted
slop.
out that we were only going to have the most soul in our AI slop.
Fair. Yeah. So I don't know. The interview was good. Credit to Jez for getting that opportunity. That's a big opportunity for him in Windows Central. So credit to him. And I would say, as we said last week, it's a sit and wait for me, right? I'm anxious to see kind of what happens over the next 6 to 12 to 18 months with Xbox, and if any significant decision changes are made.
Yeah, I think that from my perspective, I saw this mostly through my social media telling me how bad a person Jez was for taking this interview and delivering softball questions to Xbox. And the
Come
one thing
on.
I would say on this, and I think Ains, you said it well in your intro, is that this is a person in a brand new position for a major, maybe the most major corporation on earth. And for people that don't know, you go through what is tended to be called media training, where you take your executives and say, okay, you're going to have to go and give interviews, you're going to have to be in press conferences, you're going to have these talks. We need to prepare you for what these look like. And so you get your bullet points, you get ways to not answer if you're uncomfortable with a question, but you also can't test somebody in an executive role until you do a live fire type exercise. And so you try to massage that from the corporate perspective with friendly venues, folks that are unlikely to just torture you and create a bad news cycle for your company. Now, you can hate that process. I don't mind anybody saying, yes, Rick, that's evil corporations controlling the narrative, fine. But Jez being offered this interview possibility, getting, I think, 15 minutes of time straight up with this person and having her be able to test her media training and acumen in this environment is exactly what anybody watching this from afar should have expected. You don't have to love it. You can want everybody to ask every evil thing you want to know about Microsoft to this brand new person, but that was not going to happen. And I honestly feel very sympathetic to the kind of slings and arrows that Windows Central and Jez Corden took on this because I thought it was unfair.
Agreed. And I think generally some other people have spoken out about this is like, and I'm not going to obviously name anybody in particular, but I think like just generally speaking, a general statement of like most of the people in the gaming space, right? We've talked about this at length here. There's your grifters. We know all the bad stuff that's out there, especially in the YouTube or far corners of the internet space in the gaming community, right? But I think that, someone like Jez, even if you don't necessarily agree with everything he does or his reviews or whatever else, you have to understand the context of the situation here, as Hogue just rightly said. And everything Hogue said is absolutely true. And so I think take it for what it is, take out of the answers as we are here, what you can glean from them. But I think that throwing Jez under the bus for anything in this situation is just, it shouldn't happen. And I would expect better of the people in the space to have a little more intelligence around the situation and to not take personal shots at someone like Jess for that. I think that's just wrong.
Yeah. I mean, the goals here are she's testing her training. She's trying not to create negative news cycles. And that means that in a lot of ways, she's trying to say nothing. And that sucks, right? But if you watch sports at all, this is what coaches are trying to do when they're interviewed about everything after a game. It's the same kind of coach speak of, I don't really want to say anything here. The league mandates that I say stuff to you or what have you. And this is a situation that's very similar to that. So she's trying to do what she's trying to do. Jez is building up his street cred and as a contact source for Microsoft. You don't have to like that process either, but that's what he's trying to do. I think he accomplished that. I think he did better, frankly, than a lot of people would have done in the same exact situation. And so I don't like to see any individual get slammed for just doing what lines up with their incentives in a normal, structured kind of environment like this one. So, yeah. Could you have gone to a harsher outlet? Could you have gone to somebody that's more likely to hold your feet to the fire? Absolutely. I expect that this new CEO will be doing that in the future. This was a test run. This was a test case. And Microsoft is very, very protective of its executives going out there. I don't think I've told this story publicly, but during the Activision Blizzard King acquisition, I was doing all the videos. Microsoft was clearly seeing those. I was getting contacted by people like Phil Spencer. And I said as part of this, hey, do you want to do an interview at some point? I know it's probably not likely that you'll be allowed to talk to lawyers on these things. But Phil was on board at the time. And we got all the way to basically setting up a schedule for an interview. And Microsoft Legal came in and said, you're not talking to this random lawyer on YouTube, Phil. And he apologized and it went away. But like Microsoft is just super careful about these things, as every corporation on earth is. This is not a Microsoft unique slam, but like this is always going on behind the scenes. And I'm super impressed that a place like Windows Central and Jez Corden got an interview and talk like this at all. So yeah, you don't have to like the game, but don't hate the player.
Travis, what you got? You've been quiet on this one.
Yeah, not a lot to say. I mean, this is like typical PR stuff that my eyes just gloss over. Looking at and listening to. I just have no interest in this sort of stuff. So, show me the games when you're ready to show me the games, and I'll tell you what's going on. But yeah, I'm not gonna jump at big corporation with new head chief having interview about big corporations plans to be a big corporation. Just shoot me in the back of the head, please.
That they're awesome at everything and that they will be great and you can be excited about their future prospects. No, I think they've made mistakes. I think Microsoft, and I don't know how much of this is Asha herself, but I think there have been mistakes in this rollout. I think some of the things they weren't expecting were for the people to like glom onto her gamer score and start evaluating the last 30 games she played and things like that. And it's clear that there is a culture gap between her experience and this absolutely ridiculous world of gamers and gaming. And so, like, they have stepped in it a couple of times. I do not think this is one of those times, in all honesty.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to ask you guys, I guess the last thing I want to ask you on this is, she kind of came out, and I didn't see this, but all my friends were telling me about it, of like engaging with these community members directly. And in some cases, because she's obviously new to this and doesn't know who she's speaking to, engaging to some very questionable people.
Yep.
Engaging with some very questionable people online. And so we've talked before, and many outlets have, around like Microsoft's executives being a little too out in front with the community, a little too vocal, a little too communicative, maybe versus say PlayStation, Nintendo. Some people like that, some people don't. You can argue about whether it does damage or helps them, blah, blah, blah. But she comes in, she's brand new to this role, to your point, Hogue, and she immediately just starts trying to talk to everybody. Is that, you see that as a good or bad thing, or indifferent?
Well, here's what I would say. I think this is a little bit nuanced, so I'll try not to screw this up. But I think that people oversell needing to be a gamer to succeed in a management role in a gaming company.
Agree.
And I think that's what we saw initially, and I think that's what she was trying to fight against. But I do think this gap in understanding just how crazy the gamer customer base is and this influencer economy that is built up around it is a gap in experience for someone like this new CEO, which is to say, I think she did it wrong to start off with. And I think it's out of a well-reasoned belief that you can go and talk out of these concerns in this context. But I think that she wound up making it a little bit worse. And so it works for Phil because Phil had the street cred, at least for a time. And so he was able to go out there and say all these various things. And he understood gamers as the crazy vagabonds that they are. But it's clear that she didn't. And I think she's learning that very fast. I honestly think if we look at a short run for this CEO, part of it is going to be, I didn't realize how crazy gamers were. Like, I think that's going to be the continuing story of the gaming industry if this winds up being a short run. We see that a little bit with some of the after action reports from like Sony executives and like Reggie at Nintendo. And they had some notions of how crazy gamers were. So I think it was a foot fault to start, but a well-reasoned one. I just think that when you are putting somebody in this kind of position, it's not that you need to know everything about Halo 2 to succeed as Microsoft CEO. You do have to know what you're getting into as crazy gamers. And stay out of the social media firefight because it's not worth it. You're not going to earn anything.
True. But I disagree about Halo 2. She better know everything about that game.
All right. Well, when she gives her next interview and someone asks her thoughts on the Arbiter, you'll know you're in good hands.
Oh, yeah. That answer will determine her future.
The mausoleum of the Arbiter.
It's actually Keith David giving the interview. It's a whole thing.
Keith David's here in like 3 weeks at the Comic-Con in Kansas City, and I told Patricia, I was like, I may have to meet him.
Like, you have to go meet the Arbiter or Goliath or whatever your favorite Keith David character is.
Because I've met.
Is he in? No.
I've met. Of course, I'm going to blank on their names now. I've met Chief and Cortana's voice actors at Halo Worlds, and I have their signatures and stuff. So getting Arbiter seems like a must at this point.
Go get them all.
Yeah, got to catch them all. Shout out to Mickey Doe becoming a seasoned gaming member. Thank you, Mickey. Love the classic Dark Souls Avatar.
What's his name?
I have a statue, dude. I'm dead mentally right now. I couldn't even remember the voice actor for Master Chief. For God's
Isn't it
sakes,
like Rhodes or something
Fake
like that?
gamer girl.
I know, right? I literally have a statue of him right there. So Leo, that's it. Yeah.
Wait, did you cheat?
No, I didn't cheat, but I'm blanking. Jennifer something is Cortana's voice actress. I can't remember. I'm getting old, guys. I'm getting old.
Seasoned. You're getting seasoned. More
Yeah,
seasoned by the
yeah.
day.
It's bad.
Stick with us. You can watch us die.
Anyway, chat, you've been awesome today. Good conversation, guys. Talking about this week, as I said, my Resident Evil review, you can check that out. It'll be spoiler free. A lot of good thoughts and kind of perspective on the franchise as a whole. I kind of joke in my review that I still have my original big box PlayStation 1 version of Resident Evil 1. And just go back to the very beginning with that franchise. So yeah, cool to write that up this week. And I've reviewed 7 and 8 as well, so that's been fun. We are also going to review, there's a new Starship Troopers game, believe it or not, first person shooter. So we're going to have that you can check out. And I want to mention this, I'm going to put up an actual written review, but I'll just show it on camera real quick, which is this company called Epo Maker sent me their gaming keyboard, which is really solid. It's a little compact. It's more narrow. It doesn't have like the number pad and everything on it, but it's really well featured. It's obviously all RGB everything. You can work on Bluetooth, wired. It's got Hall effect kind of soft touch keys and everything. So I'll have a lot more on that this week. It was they just sent it to me to check it out, and I've been kind of pleasantly surprised by how nice it is. So more to come. Travis, anything you can talk about this week?
My marathon review in progress. I can talk about that. Did I finish Sticks? I think maybe might not have.
You talked last week about Sticks. Yep.
But
we
yeah,
did hear
Sticks
about
is
your
live.
goblin running around with sticks.
Hell yeah, dude, gobbling up treasure. Yeah, you'll never catch me forgetting about Solaire, even on my worst day. So not a fake gamer girl. And yeah, more to come. GDC starts this weekend with Day of the Devs, and I'm gonna be busy next weekend and next week. It's gonna be crazy. So I'm excited.
The funny thing is, I told you I couldn't make it out to GDC. I'm literally flying into LA, I think, next Monday. So I'll be like, what, a couple hours from you?
Full of a toque. Full of a toque.
Hogue, show us your wares, my friend.
I have no wares to show you.
Oh,
sir.
boy.
Still working on legal dealings. So other people are getting wares, but it's not the internet.
Fair enough. I've been in the same place. It was funny, actually, one of our community members posting, hey, Bitcast showed up on my feed. I haven't seen it in months. And I'm like, that's because I haven't been doing any other videos lately. And YouTube does not like that, as we know all too well. So, but anyway, as always, community, thank you for hanging out with us. As we said, please share it out, hit that like. Big week in gaming. Check out Resident Evil. Check out the Server Slam. We'll be back next week with obviously more marathon talk, maybe some more Steam Next Fest stuff. And what? I'm sorry?
Pocopia.
You know I'm not the man for that, so you'll have to talk about that next week.
I can cover Pocopia.
All right, cool. We'll talk about Pocopia next week as well. But until then, have a great week in gaming. Enjoy what you're playing. Don't waste your time on things you don't enjoy playing. I think that should go without saying, but I'll echo it anyway. And we will see you next Sunday. Till then, peace.